don't put them on.
I don't think so. I don't think we ever put on
Yeah.
rose, colored glasses because we had been through so much difficulties, so many challenges, individually, that when we finally had a chance to come together and unite and make a unity, um, we were kind of expecting difficulties. I think for us, the biggest challenge was sickness. Because you got to be tried by something, and I think sickness was the hand we were dealt. Um, I think about 4 years into about 3 4 years into our marriage, I found out that I had type 2 diabetes, and my dad, it's hereditary. My dad has diabetes, and my mom found out she had diabetes. So I recall when I got really sick when I was like 18 years old back in Georgia, and my mom had to rush me to the emergency room, and the doctor was like, "You have the diabetic trait. I don't know which one, but it's very visible, and I think you're gonna onset in about." He told me 15 to 20 years, and just as sure, 20 years later, I onset. I'm at work. I keep I'm like keep eating candy. I'm eating like I used to love Jolly Ranchers and gummy worms and
Honey buns
everything,
and
honey
cookies.
buns and cookies and stuff. I just had to have it, and I'm sitting at my desk. Um, I think I was working at a call center then. So yeah, I'm working at a call center. So I'm sitting at my desk, and I keep smelling this watermelon smell, and I keep telling them, I was like, "Y'all, there's a snake in here." And it was like a snake. I was like, "Yeah, I smell a snake in here because I'm kind of like a country boy, so you out there playing in the woods, you smell a watermelon or some type of fruity smell. You 9 times out of 10, it's a snake around." So I kept telling them it's a snake in this building, and they was laughing at me and everything. I was like, "No, I'm serious. I smell a watermelon. Like I think it's a snake in here." So the whole time I don't even know that I'm getting sick. I'm actually about to onset. And to make a long story short, I call my wife and I'm like, "Hey, listen, I'm not feeling well." And she was, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Listen, I don't even know." I said, "I keep smelling this fruity smell, and my head is hurting like really, really bad, and I'm cramping up like really bad." Like, and she was like, "All right, I'm on my way to get you." So by the time she came and got me, I lost control of my right side, and then I lost control of my left side, and then I ended up in the hospital. I blacked out. I ended up in the hospital, and it was like the most challenging thing in my life. I I stayed in the hospital for like a week, and when I got out of the hospital, I couldn't. I had a mild. I had what like a. I went into like a diabetic coma. I had like a mild stroke, and I couldn't function after that. I just lost myself as a man. I lost myself. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to take care of myself or her, the kids. I just didn't know. And then on top of that, it was gonna be difficult for us to have children and all kinds of things this doctor's telling me now, and I'm finding out, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, you know, which when I went to the doctor when I was like 18, he told me about the difficulty to have kids and all of that then. So that's why it was like a perfect situation for me, and that was the first time sickness struck us, and then you know we had to overcome that. So that would be one time that I would say the glasses came off.
Well, I'm going to say mine has not. My honeymoon with my wife is fresh every day. They may get smudged, might need a little wiping off, but as a whole, I love my wife deeply. I see her, son, all the problems are gone. She hugs me, kisses me. I'm not taking mine off. Just not. Sweet pea.
And for me, I'm going to have to mirror my husband. Um, I mean, I don't feel as though, like my husband said, as far as the honeymoon hasn't stopped. Like he said, I love my husband. And it's like I can't keep my hands off of him. I love kissing him. I love caressing him. I just love doting over him. And people will tell you, they when we go, and it's not like I'm bragging or anything. When Johnny and I are together, you can feel the tension in the room between us, because it's like when I see him, it's like you just see all the love in my face. You just see the glow. And I'm just so, it's like a magnet. I'm just so drawn to him. And it's like I got to go over there and I just got to touch him. I have to be on him. And it's like, it's not like we haven't had any, I'm going to say ripples or anything like that, but it's still the point of, again, the love is still there. And people always like, what y'all about to do? What y'all doing? I see y'all. And it's like people are attracted to that. And even within my family, they even told us, like, I really do envy you guys, because you can still see not only the love that you two are still very much in love with each other. And it's like, again.
It's so self-pilot. It's not something we have to do. She was chosen.
After I had our last son, yeah, there was a time of disconnection, I would say. We weren't seeing eye to eye. I, as a woman, as a mother,
Was it time? It was time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time.
And as a wife, did not balance everything like I should have. I guess I could say that. And my husband is a jealous man when it comes down to having the attention that he needs. And so there was a time of disconnection for us because he wasn't getting the attention that he needed. And I was just trying to keep everything under control. Like you said, I'm a very focused person. So as far as trying to give everything the focus and attention that it needs all at one time, I didn't do that properly for him. And I didn't know that he required the attention that he actually did require. And so I guess I could say the rose-colored glasses came off around that time for me.
Real early. Like marriage, 3 months later, punch in your face.
Hit in the gut.
Here it is. Early, very early. We were just not on the same page at all. Like, I don't know, and people say, oh, put your, make sure you put God first, and, make sure, Jesus is the foundation. And it's like a lot of times you don't really understand what they mean. A lot of, like, my parents, they've been married 20 plus years. His
My
parents
been married 42 years. I got basically all my aunties and uncles are married on both sides of the family. So
we
we have that foundation.
we
on
see
both sides.
it,
We see
but you don't see behind closed doors.
the work that they had to put in.
You don't see the work. So, sometimes you need somebody to kind of sit you down and really, give you like the one-on-one, like, yo.
The uncut version of it.
The uncut version of it. Like, this is what it really is.
Yeah.
If you're not on the same page when it comes to your communication, then
You're gonna have to go back to ground zero.
ground zero. We hit ground zero a few times. A few times.
Mynisha J. Rogers, minister, entrepreneur, and author of the Healing Network book states, the key to believing, receiving, and maintaining our healing is found in our network, which consists of the FAR principle: faith, action, and relationships. She reminds us that God still heals. He healed before, He is healing now, and He will heal again. So now is the time to believe, receive, and maintain your healing. Get your copy today.
What you
I
saying?
still kind of stick with the same notion of not really putting them on. And for me, I never put them on because we were friends for so long. Like when we met, we literally we met each other, like I said, in December in that store. And when I came back in January and I was all dolled up and cute, ready to do taxes, like I told him everything. Like I wasn't complacent about him being my friend. I was like, listen, I have children. I have this issue I need to get resolved. And I was so open with everything
Yeah.
that by the time we got married,
Yeah.
there was nothing left. Like he had seen me frustrated. He had seen me happy. He had seen me excited. He had seen me broke. He had seen when I had money. He had pretty much seen everything, every emotion that I could have possibly had as a person, as a person that wasn't his wife yet. He had seen. So, and I got to see a lot of that too. I got to see him react to his grandparents dying, to his godfather dying, to, his cousins having babies, cousins married. So I got to see a lot of highs and lows. So I kind of knew what I was getting into. It wasn't, there was not a stone that was left unturned. Like
Right.
we had dealt with so much with our 3 years as friends that by the time we decided we wanted to get married, it was a 100% agreement. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Like our marriage was so much in agreement that we literally got
Yeah.
married on our lunch breaks
Yeah.
at work.
Yeah,
Like,
we
are you
did.
ready to go?
Yeah,
And he was like,
yeah.
okay, I'll meet you at the chapel.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
That's what we did.
Because it wasn't about the wedding and the ceremony. It was about that at that point we were on the same page.
We were on the same
we were in
page.
the same book. We
Yeah.
were on the same page. And it didn't matter.
About it. It didn't matter
Yeah.
what our parents thought.
Yeah,
It didn't
nobody
matter.
else thought. It
Nobody-
was-
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I would say that. And
Yeah, it was really about us. And I think the high point for me was when we went to Charlotte. Like that was our first out of state trip together, right before we got married.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing about that trip was we went to a church called Sugar Creek, and the sermon was about couples, and they told us that a lot of people want to lead in marriage and a lot of people want to follow, and every obstacle and every situation can't be handled by one person in the marriage. Some things the husband was going to be stronger at, some things the wife was going to be stronger. But instead of walking one in front of the other or side by side, try being back to back and turning yourselves when the stronger person is able to take on an obstacle. And that was a lot for me because it was honest, it was fair, it wasn't dominant, it was okay to be submissive to someone that understood if this situation isn't their strong suit, it's okay to let the other person handle it.
Yeah.
So, submitting and being in a relationship where you're honest and it's fair made it easy. So I didn't put those glasses on because there was nothing to rose color. It was, this is what this man is, and either you're going to take him and work with him and make each other 100%, or you're only going to bring 50% of yourself and get confused or lost somewhere
Yeah.
through the line. So
Yep. But
like he stated, everybody has something that they have to deal with. And for us, I think we had went through so much as friends that by the time we got married, it was very few things left to experience where we had like that honeymoon stage, because we had kind of dabbled in honeymoon
Right.
stage
Yeah.
as friends
as friends.
without consequences.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that was the best part because I got to be mad.
Right.
And like he was talking about when we were still friends, we did have that hiatus where we didn't talk to each other, where we were just like, we need to see if our lives would be better if
Little
we found
space.
somewhere else, someone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
The bottom line was I got mad because he didn't listen to something that I had said about his taxes. And so, and about misappropriation of his money, and he got mad because it was his money, and it was just my job as his tax preparer and consultant that I should have stayed in my place. And I was adamant that the advice that I was trying to give was good advice and he needed to listen. And I tried to remove myself as his friend and just be on a professional level to get him to see where I was coming from. And I got mad. Like, I was mad because you just wouldn't listen. So,
and it turned out that she was right. That was one of the things that I was saying, that when I went back and I looked over some things, I saw she was right, and things of that nature. But like I said, for me, it was really like the sickness, because I was so strong in my youth. I had never had experienced any illness, and it reminded me when she said, when you stand back to back instead of going side by side of one another, when you stand back to back and someone has your back, like how she had my back through the sickness and everything, she took care of me. She nursed me back to health. She helped me to realize that it was going to be okay. I went through depression and all kinds of things, and she was a trooper. She was a warrior. So yeah, that definitely was key.
Life is fluid. Some things we do on a daily basis, routines, and then occasionally something happens where routine change. You notice something different. Sometimes I'll call her to table because it could affect you differently. I've never seen this before. And when I call Yolanda to the table and I say, hey baby, what's changing? And she said, oh, no, how some things happen. You haven't seen a friend in a long time, or work habits change and something like that. But sometimes it's just a check-in, and that's how I respond to changes. Sweet Pea.
For me, I'm going to say, when I go out of town, when I'm going to be away from Johnny for a few days, I didn't notice it until later that Johnny gets kind of, I'm gonna say, jealous of the time that I spend with others besides him, because I must admit I really did spoil my husband because of all the affection and the love and everything that I give him. And I'm gonna not try to put it out there in a sense to harm him, but I think it's a little bit of separation anxiety because of us, because of so much time we do spend together in the home and everything. And I guess it's that element of just missing my wife, and it's just like, and then when it happened, it was because I noticed it during the time when I left, and we got into a little spat one time when I was working for H&R Block. And then it happened again. I said, I get it. He'd rather be a little upset with me because we'll have it rather than truly miss me in a sense. So it's like, I'm going to be mad at her right now. So I don't have to think about her being gone and I'm not here with her, so that I can just say, I would say that.
What would you say?
I probably say around the same time because I was away in the military. So a lot of my time was coming home for a short period of time, even though she had been home with our children, nurturing them, raising them, getting them right. She's got them on, the regiment, So I'm coming home, with my spare time looking like, hey, hey, I'm here, what's up?
Like everything changes.
It's got to change. That's how I'm thinking, because I'm here, I need some attention too. And so, it would probably be, because Tyree was born with 07. Mm-hmm. So around that time, it was a little shaky trying to adjust back into being home all the time. There were moments where we were, at an aha or that's how it's gonna be. So this what we dealing with. There was a particular time, and she tells the story all the time. We wouldn't even speak. We wouldn't be speaking or something like that.
Right.
There was one time we were in a store, and I didn't know she was in the store, and she says that I looked at her in the store, and turned my head like I didn't even see her.
You did.
And I mean, it was just like, I don't remember, everything that happened, but she's like, we were in the store, not together, but just at the same time. And, I looked at her and was like,
Yeah, you was walking around on your
I might have been
phone.
on the phone. Yeah, I was on the phone. You're right. I was on the phone. And it was just like,
And I was like, that's my whole husband.
nah, but
And he gonna turn his head like he ain't even see me in this store.
But I was being selfish. But I wanted something, but I had to figure out how the balance was going to work being back home.
You didn't communicate well.
I didn't at all. I assumed that it was all about me.
Our communication was so bad. Like, he would say something. Like, he can say something, but what I heard was like, what? I got offended. I put my wall up. I wasn't trying to hear it. I'm looking at him all sideways. I'm offended. So therefore now I'm holding on, to this anger, this resentment, like.
And vice versa.
So like we were just hearing totally different things. We could have meant well, but we were already, once you already have your fence up, your guard up.
It's nothing.
It don't matter what he said or what I said or what he said. Like, I'm just mad and I'm going to be mad and I'm going to stay mad.
I want to be a part of bringing excellent and compelling content to life. From finding talent as a casting director to producing strong projects for television and film. There's something amazing and beautiful when the casting director can help usher the actor into transforming into a character, helping them to see and be the character, understanding the character's life story without seeing a face because they're the face.
You happy? I thought when I gave myself up, that was enough for you to be happy. But obviously not. Obviously not.
My purpose is a gift from God, and I'm honored and humbled by it. Oprah Winfrey once mentioned that you're doing what you're purposed to do when you can do it for hours on end. I'm excited to be able to live in my purpose and bring Simone Baldwin Productions to serve and deliver.
For me, it was not putting the glasses on. I think it eliminated a lot of issues because I wasn't going in with this fascination or this ideology of what I wanted this marriage to be. I knew what I wanted. And I knew what I expected from him, and I knew what I expected from myself. And I knew that if my expectations were in line with what God wanted me to have, that there wouldn't be issues like that. Like, we wouldn't argue about little things that can turn into big things. And avoiding that and bringing that before our relationship into our relationship, it made it easier and it helped me realize that you can fight through all of this, but when you say I do, all of that becomes the past. You don't get to bring that back with you. You get to leave it there. So doing a lot of that stuff before it was a part of our marriage and our union, it helped to solidify the fact that you said you trust God, now show me. There was no, well, I was mad this day, that's why we didn't pray, or I was upset and that's why I didn't write. It was, we already did that. I know what you're capable of, so show me that you love God just as much as you love me, and you can put him first, and we can work through it. And at the end of the day, it was just about show me. He made me show him. I made him show me. And when we were doing all this showing, we were proving to God that we were worthy of being in a relationship that didn't warrant conflict or didn't warrant, arguments that would tear some marriages apart. He saw fit to spare us with a lot of things because we didn't allow ourselves to deal with the problem. Like, I remember literally writing down, like, he really just went out and spent money on this, and this, and he doesn't need it. And then he would go out and he would return it. And he was like, you know what, I thought about it and I took it back. And I'm just like, did you read my notes? And it was just a matter of, I couldn't always be the one to tell him when something wasn't right. I had to allow him to realize it. And when I would do that and let God be the one, then there was no blame. It didn't feel like I was being a boss or being mean or, telling him what to do, when the message and the understanding was coming from God. And that took me a while. Like, that wasn't overnight. Like, I had to really, really learn that God is so much better at delivering bad news than I was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's what really solidified
Yeah,
it for me.
for me, it was like I say, I go back to you stand back to back, because after all of her, you know, being strong and taking care of me and being a warrior and everything, later on in life, I'm not gonna say later on. Well, later on in life, later on in our marriage, she took sick.
Well, that's another topic. But
That's a whole nother topic. But I will say what I learned from it was everything I learned from her. Now it gave me a chance to do the same thing she did for me. And it was difficult for me because, like I said, I came from like strong and not really needing anyone to help me and everything, to have to learn how to depend on other people. And all of her hard work and her diligence and everything she sacrificed to help me, I learned how now to take care of her. So when she said, she reminded me of that, we stand back to back, and that's what it taught me. That's what it really taught me, to stand by her side the same way she stood by mine.
Well, it didn't affect the love that I had for Johnny, but it did make me come to ask him, or actually had to make him realize what he was doing. Because it did, I can't perform well at my job, or even, it's like I don't want any type of that type of tension between us. And it was like, well, baby, did you realize that you do this when I leave the house? And he thought about it, and it was like, yeah. And I think one moment you actually had to admit it, in the sense a little bit, that you did. And it was like, well, yeah, I kind of do that. So it was just bringing it to the table and just making him be aware of the situation. So, he was like, oh, okay, I get it. And, so.
I don't know how to. It just wasn't good. That period wasn't good at all.
It was almost over.
Yeah.
It was almost over. We went through a time of deciding. We had to make a decision whether or not we wanted it.
Yeah.
Whether or not we wanted to continue, because I really didn't know who he had become. And we sat down and we talked. We had to learn how to communicate better, and really understand what we wanted out of each other.
Mm-hmm. It made tensions high in the house. You go to work, everything all right, and then on that drive home, you're dreading going home because you're like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna walk into. For me.
Well, it almost led us to a divorce a couple of times, because I was just, so angry, and I was hurt. We ended up, both violating our vows, against each other, and, of course, now I don't trust you. I don't even know who you are anymore. You're not the person that I married, that person that was, dating and all this and this. Like, I don't know you.
Yeah, it changed.
We changed, and instead of us reaching out to God, individually, and asking him, to first, heal what was going on, within us, I was like, I'll never forgive you. I know he probably was like,
I don't care. At the time, I didn't care. So.
He didn't care, and I hated that. Like, you just walk around here like it's whatever, and it's not. I was just mad, and I became a very angry and just plain out mean. Like, I wanted to make his life hell.
Yeah.
it hurts my feelings to say that now, but at that time, that's just the track that I was on. Like, that person then, I don't ever want to see her again, but it was just coming from a place of hurt and, bitterness and just anger, and I just wanted to, like, I think I tried to fight him a couple of times, had to, like, held me down. I remember, like, having my hands, like, in his dress, and I'm like, I'm finna snatch them all out, or you gonna wake up and you're gonna be bald head.
A lot.
I mean, I was just on a rampage. I was like Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
And I know that didn't make it any easier for him, but for me, I'm like, you say, please forgive me, I'm sorry, but it's almost like that nonchalant, it just came across as arrogant to me, and I just did not, I did not like that.
I was smelling myself.
He was smelling himself.